First, you must realize that you have no idea before you can know the idea. We scan across all the frequencies if we want to learn anything new. Let us begin.
What has physics done for me lately?
Furthermore, the equation E is equal mc squared.
We have now acquired a fateful power to alter and to destroy nature.
That's like when you're in physics and you go to Dreamworld saying, oh, this is a physics excursion.
Science. What is it all about?
The whole of human history all falls in the dust of one stroke of the nail file. You can't really get to grips with evolution unless you realise what an enormous amount of time.
Our own planet is only a tiny part of the vast cosmic tapestry, a starry fabric of worlds yet untold.
You're tuned to what can only be described as the best radio station on this blue dot we call Earth. It is, of course, 4ZZZ, your community broadcaster, being on your conventional wireless radio by tuning into the classic frequency of 102.1 FM, digital devices such as DAB or smart speaker, listening via the Community Radio Plus app, or streaming live from a sensational website at 4ZZZ.org.au. And of course, you can always listen back to our show, or any 4ZZZ show for that matter, using the sensational catch-up on-demand feature also found on that URL. We also now have a weekly podcast of the show for your listening pleasure, curated by Toby, a condensed version of the show without the music, which my mum prefers. Just search for our show name, which is, of course, No Idea, spelt with a K. Your weekly dose of science. And joining me today are two of my favourite science communicators. I don't think they're online at the moment. We're trying to rectify that. For those unfamiliar with the show, we generally start the show with some weird science and move on to some marine science. And then my personal favourite is the MotoRap, basically any science that has piqued our interest during the week. And to round out the show, we do some space news.
What is the independent variable that makes No Idea tick? That's what I want to know.
In the 4ZZZ, and the show is No Idea with me, Max. We got Gabe, we got Peta, we got probably an echo going on, but you know, it is what it is. Nothing, Gabe.
Hello, I'm here.
Yeah, cool.
We're here.
I hate when you do that pregnant pause, and then I don't know.
The pregnant pause. Max, I'm just disappointed. I had a whole thing lined up that you're going to love at the start of the show for our 707th episode.
That's right.
I had a whole thing leading you into the 707.
Yeah.
Boeing's first big commercial airliner.
Yeah.
I was going to lead you into it. I had a whole little John Travolta thing.
I watched the whole documentary on it last night too, just to be right.
You would have. But anyway, the technological world had other plans for us this morning. What do you got, Max?
We're going to do some weird science. Here's update.
Okay. Do you guys know the answer to the hard problem?
The hard problem. I do not know the answer to the hard problem. I remember you gave us a very hard problem like a year and a half ago with the humanity test for artificial intelligence, like the human intelligence test, and it was incredibly difficult questions. I don't think any of us were going to pass.
You did that.
Oh, was that me?
Yeah, he only remembers his own stories.
I thought it was blue
Max,
pill intervention.
What do you think the hard problem is? What are we trying to solve?
The hard problem. I'm not buying into this. I'm not biting on what you're fishing for. So let's go with something else. The hard problem, Max. What's something that should be harder that is anything other than what we're all thinking of?
I'm not thinking of anything, so I don't know what you're talking about. But
Getting to Saturn's biggest moon, Titan.
Yes.
There you go.
We think it's journeying where no humans have gone before.
Into the unknown. No, it is not. In neuroscience, what's known as the hard problem is consciousness.
Oh.
Consciousness is the hard problem. That's what it's known as. These sort of questions of what is it? How does it work? Where does it come from? Essentially, how does a physical body create a subjective experience? That is the hard problem.
Where's it come from, Cotton Eye Joe?
But don't worry, I will not be answering any of those questions today, and I don't think anytime soon. Lots of people are working on it.
Okay,
and
well, next
segment. People are working on this very, very hard at the moment because can you think about why people would be wanting to rapidly work on consciousness?
Artificial intelligence.
Absolutely. They are trying to rapidly come up with not only a hard, fast definition of consciousness, but also how to explain it, because then we can say, is AI conscious or not? That question has not been answered.
Yeah.
So that's just a whole other thing we can worry about in the back of our minds. But right now, I want to focus on something else. In the same way that we don't have a good understanding of consciousness, we don't have a good understanding of unconsciousness either. So one of the questions is, what exactly do we do when we're unconscious? What can we do? So I'm sure you've heard, as I have, stories of people, quote, remembering everything they heard when they were in a coma. That has happened. People have been able to give very good recounts of things they heard while they were in coma. I mean, theoretically, they might be able to see too, but you get your eyes taped shut because they dry out. So people can't really see with their eyes shut. But hearing seems to remain sometimes on board, and people seem to be able to sometimes remember things. Some research in 2019 actually showed that the brains of people in comas are able to recognize outliers in audio patterns, something called oddball audio. But coma is not the only type of unconscious. What other times are you unconscious, boys?
Sleep.
Sleep is good. Sleep is unconscious.
Yeah.
If you get taken out by an Australian defender when you're on the Egyptian football team, you seem to get knocked unconscious as well.
You get unconscious and then put straight back on the field for 90 minutes. Brilliant idea. Any other times you've been unconscious?
Any other times I have been unconscious? I mean, anesthetic.
Anesthetic. Anesthetic is a major thing that we are commonly unconscious. Anesthesia is kind of a medically induced reversible coma, sort of. And some things, so there's different levels of anesthesia, of course, but at the lowest levels, at levels ready for surgery, people, like, your brain can look kind of like, the brain stem can kind of look like brain death. Like, you are at such low levels of brain activity, it would otherwise be concerning if we didn't know exactly what is happening to you. I've been in surgery. Who else has had surgery here and been under anesthetic?
Hands up,
anesthesia?
yes, yeah.
Yeah. So you can't remember anything, can you? I can't remember anything.
No.
Felt like I just woke straight up. But does that mean our brains aren't doing anything?
Yeah.
You had a pill?
The bill.
Oh, the bill. I was like, that's not general anesthetic. You just got knocked out. You have to get plugged in for that. But apparently our brains are doing more than we may think. So this comes to us from the Baylor College of Medicine. And it doesn't have a general QS, so I won't ask you because it's a medicine college only, so they don't really get scored on that. Their subject ranking is 51 to 100 worldwide, which I did think was interesting that they entered a range so quickly for medicine. I was like, surely there's got to be a lot of medical colleges around the world. Anyway, bit of fun on the Baylor College of Medicine. And they wanted to do research on people in surgery. Now, specifically, they're looking at people in epileptic surgeries. This is quite a common thing for neuroscience, is to do neuroscience on people in epileptic surgeries, which is a treatment that some epileptic people will go under, where they try and find the neurons that are misfiring and remove them. That isn't actually relevant to what they did. That just happened around their research. They were more using this as an opportunity to get inside a brain and put in neuropixel probes. Now, this is a type of machine, I guess, that we use to be able to see in real time how areas of your brain are reacting, cell by cell, hence the name neuropixel. So they're able to see neuron by neuron how and when they're firing, and then you can use that together to get a better idea of brain activity, processing, brain imaging. It uses hundreds of neurons simultaneously. So it's an incredibly powerful technology. It's powered by electrodes, by the way. So it's just a bunch of electrodes going into someone's brain. And they put them in the hippocampus. Now, does anyone know what the hippocampus is?
Memory.
Mainly, yeah. So it's the part of your brain that sort of takes control and leadership of long-term memory and memory in general. It does a bunch of other things as well. Like I've talked about before, brains, every part of your brain does sort of everything. They just have specialties. Its specialty is memory, but it's also quite deep in the middle of your brain. So it's an ancient part of the brain. It's not something that we've developed recently. We developed this a long, long time ago. And they wanted to see how brains responded to stimulus while they were unconscious. So the first thing they did to the first 3 patients was something called the oddball test. Now, I did actually make some music, but I have a feeling we do not have it thanks to our technical difficulties. So I'm just going to sing it for you, and I'll see how it works. So if you could both close your eyes, and we go, imagine you're unconscious in a surgery, and you hear this. Doot, 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 and just like repeating and repeating, with different ones being something different. Now, did you hear something different?
Now we're dancing around on the surgical table, mate.
Yeah, I make a sick beat. That's what I do.
Did I hear something different?
Yeah. What was different?
The high note.
Exactly. It's not very complex. It's just
There's
that
two notes.
sometimes there's a different note.
Oh.
So there's a normal note and then there's sometimes a different note, and they play them 80% the one note, 20% the other note.
I thought that was going to be one of those moments, Max, where it goes, did you see the dancing gorilla? And we missed something really obvious that had happened at the same time.
But like much bigger than just there being another note. Yeah. No, it's just another note. But it's something that you wouldn't, like we said, you just wake up from surgery, right? You don't remember anything that happened. So you wouldn't assume that when you're in that anesthetic state, that your brain would even notice that. It's just happening around you. But actually, in the brains were firing in different ways with the unusual tones. So when there was that different note, it would fire differently, showing that they did notice that something different was happening. And even more interesting, the brain became better at recognizing them over time, which was suggesting that neural plasticity or learning was still taking place under anesthesia. So it was learning about the place around it. Then we come to test 2. And test 2, they really dialed it up a couple of notches. So they had 4 patients here, and they gave them some more complex audio, a podcast.
Wow.
We really jumped up from 2 different tones to a podcast.
Yeah, no idea.
They did not have no idea. They went to the Moth Radio Hour.
Oh, what a pity, because No Idea is available on your podcasting platform of choice.
It is, and I think it fits what they were looking for, which was intriguing conversations and interesting stories. And I think we have that. So maybe next time they'll use No Idea. This one, they did something called Wild Women and Dancing Queens, My Father's Hands, Juggling in Jesus, and also a YouTube video titled Why We Should Not Look for Aliens.
Yeah, cool.
So some really interesting content there. I'm sure the unconscious people
Somewhat
didn't appreciate it.
controversial, yeah.
Maybe they did while they were unconscious. We don't know. That's the whole purpose of the study. And they saw that the hippocampus showed clear evidence of processing language in real time. So the brain was able to distinguish different parts of speech, including nouns, verbs, and adjectives, so responding differently to those different types of words. And this is the crazy bit, the neural signals they produced could be used to predict upcoming words before they were spoken. So this is that sort of thing that your brain does where you're like, you know what someone's kind of going to say next because we have an understanding of society. Seems to still happen when you're unconscious. And so I think this is interesting because we tend to talk about conscious experience as a series of predictions that our brain makes about the world that is adjusted by real-time feedback by our senses, right? So your brain makes a series of predictions. That's what you're living in. You're living in your brain's predictions of the world. And every so often, your senses will give your brain feedback that it wasn't quite what it predicted. And then you get better predictions over and over again. So the brain is meant to predict things. But this is the brain doing that same prediction without anyone really there to experience it. Or see it, right? Like the consciousness is not there, so it's still doing that base work and giving a guess to no one, which is, I think, really interesting. I think the point of this is just that the brain is doing so much more under the surface than we realize.
Is this about gamma rays?
Nothing to do with gamma rays, Max. It's about...
So no. What? Max, every story. Is this about gamma rays?
Is this about gamma rays or robot dogs, please? Can it be? Can we change it now?
You tune into 4ZZZ and the show is No Idea with me, Max. We've got Issy in the room.
Hello.
We've got Gabe. We've got Peta.
Hello.
And we've got part 2 of this. Who's up, Gabe?
Me? I thought you'd be going, Max.
Why?
I can go.
I can go.
No, it's fine. I'm ready to go. I just wasn't ready. This is immediately, Max, one of my favorite bits of research that's come out this year. Some scientists in Spain have discovered that their giraffes can do maths.
What?
Nice.
How?
Yeah.
But only some
Is it
giraffes.
the same as the horse?
Only some giraffes and only
Just like
very,
humans.
very specific maths.
Oh, nice. Not trig yet or something.
This was published in Nature Scientific Reports, led out of the University of Barcelona, QS ranking.
Spanish.
University
Oh, 100.
University of Barcelona,
yeah,
main
73.
city. We're going to go 110.
240.
165.
Ooh.
They're at Barcelona Zoo. You got a Zoo-S ranking for me?
Oh, like a 6?
Actually, I didn't even look into if there was any zoo ranking. I just came up with the joke and was happy with that and left it.
No research for Gabe.
My challenge to you this morning is, how would you design an experiment to test whether or not a giraffe can count? How do you do that?
Would it be food
Oh,
oriented?
put-
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
thinking
put a
food.
couple of bits of food
Yeah.
in front of it, and then if it correctly counts how many food
It can have
pieces
it.
there are, it can have the food.
Put some food in front
So,
of it.
like 3 apples.
Yeah.
If it stomps its hoof 3 times,
Stomps its hoof 3 times.
I'm
okay.
inspired by the horse. Then it gets
That's
3
cool.
apples.
Right.
Okay.
Interesting.
Have
We're
we got a
looking
video?
at maths, though. We want addition, subtraction, those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Oh, really? The whole gamut?
Give it 4
whole gamut.
apples.
Ah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then?
It says 4 with its hoof.
Yep.
It
You give it
writes
3
4
apples.
in the ground.
If it says 1 left, then you're good.
Carry the one.
Carry the one.
Are we using Roman numerals?
Yes.
So they're in Barcelona Zoo. They're using 4 giraffes, 2 all born and raised in the zoo, 2 younger males and 2 older adult females. In total, the giraffes did 1,088 trials throughout this experiment. 272 trials per giraffe. If you're concerned about the giraffe's welfare, no, they voluntarily engaged with the research and could walk away at any time. They then had them stay. The researcher was standing up on a bit of like a balcony in their covered area.
Yeah, well, you want to look them in the eyes.
The
don't you?
researcher, no. You
Oh.
do not want to look them in the eyes because that can sway the results because they'll start using your eye
True,
line.
like the horse.
So what exactly, like the horse that could count was just following little subliminal messaging coming off the human about them sort of leaning towards the one that they wanted to guess or whatever, looking at it more. So that to get rid of that, the researchers dressed in very drab clothing. I think it was the same guy throughout the whole thing.
More drab than regular zookeeper gear.
Very drab looking
This
clothing.
is very much like your bird study in Vienna or whatever they did. Remember that?
Yes, where they walked at them and saw how far away they could go. So the researcher had sunnies on, sunglasses on all the time so they couldn't see the eye line. And they would
Cool, dude.
approach the researcher on the balcony. And in front of him, he'd have 3 boxes. On the left and the right are yellow boxes. In the middle is a green box. So what would happen is something like this. He'd see the giraffe would engage, the giraffe would look at the boxes are open, the giraffes can see inside. He would put 2 pieces of carrot in one box and 1 piece of carrot in the other box. He then, once the giraffe's seen
the
it,
one in the middle has
closes
both.
the lid
Oh, yeah.
to the 2 yellow boxes on the end, and then would put 2 pieces of carrot in the green box for the giraffe to see that there's 2 in the middle, and then would take those 2 and place it into the yellow box that had 1. So now the 2 yellow boxes have 3 and 2 when initially it was 1 and 2. So if it picks the one with 3, you know when he
It can
holds
do
them
addition.
up because it's out of its reach at the start. If they then hold up the closed boxes and it can go, I want that one, which has 3 in it now, more than the one with 2, even though originally that one had more, then that is implying that it's able to do addition. Yeah? Got
Yeah.
it? Subtraction works
Maybe
the
not
same.
by exact numbers, but it can see what is more and less.
Yeah. But it's compiling that in its
Yeah.
head, even though it's not got the object permanence of
Did
seeing
they
it.
do a
And then for
colour eye test on them or not?
No, they didn't.
Yeah, I feel like if they'd done yellow, blue, and green, then they could have also taught them color addition.
No, they
do
specifically
both.
chose colors that they knew they'd be able to differentiate between. So the yellow ones are the target ones, the green ones the maths one. Then they did the same sort of thing for subtraction. So they would have like 3 and 2 carrots in the yellow boxes. They'd close them. With the green one still open, they'd take 2 out of the one with 3 and place it in the green one and close the green one up. So it would see that 2 have entered the green one. It would then hold up the 2 yellow ones, which instead of having 3 and 2, now have 1 and 2. And if it picks the one that has 2 rather than the one that used to have 3, then you know it's been able to do the subtraction. So they repeated that lots and lots of times because there's lots of issues with stuff like this, like the with ungulates, so the hooved animals. They know that if they sort of have some success over on the right, they're going to guess on the right a lot.
Yes.
So they have to do all these corrective things throughout the experiment. They know if they've got any sort of bias in the way, which still could have happened. There's lots of possible
They're
flaws in this.
right-handed, they put it in the right box.
If the
more.
researcher just happens to hold the one with more a
bit
little lower,
higher
maybe
or
it actually,
whatever,
or a bit
okay.
higher, maybe
Yeah.
they realize, oh, the one that's a bit higher is usually the one that has more food. You know,
Yeah.
there's so many things that can go wrong. They controlled for a lot. There's still lots of error that could creep into this. So the results, if it's a 50-50 chance, you know they're just guessing any which way, right? If they have the ability to memorize which one has more before it gets closed, then and they pick for that, then you know they're not doing the maths, but they do at least have that sort of object permanence
Yep.
of going, we'll pick the one that initially had more, before the maths
Yep.
happen. If they pick the one that has more after the mathematical stuff has gone on, the addition or subtraction, and they also did some where they had multi-steps. They'd like take it out of one with 3, put it in the green, and then put it into the one on the right. So it's subtraction from one and addition to the other. So they did that as well.
And took the giraffe's money.
Yes, and then did sleight of hand, and then the draft ended up with no
Is this
carrots,
your card?
no carrots, massive debt, broken home.
They introduced gambling to giraffes.
So what happened was, I have to tell you straight up, 2 of them failed altogether in all of the mathematical
Maybe
work.
they just weren't hungry.
All
Have you thought about that? They just go for the not
No,
hungry.
because they one of them even failed in part of the control experiments that was determining can they pick the one that has more carrots beyond a 50-50 chance.
Right.
Not all, but like, so 2 of them flunked the maths test entirely.
Right.
It's all right. Some people do.
That's okay.
That's okay.
But when they did the addition task, so adding more to one, so it suddenly becomes the better choice, 2 of the 4 giraffes were able to solve that task, the addition task. They can remember the quantities they've initially observed, mentally update that information following changes, and make the optimal decision based on it.
If they like carrots.
They all like the carrots. They made that very clear. Even those 2 cleverer giraffes, though, still failed the subtraction and the sequential calculation tasks. So the ones where they do subtraction from one and addition to the other, do some multi-steps, which means some giraffes are able to do basic addition, or to use the scientific language, because they don't even say this, they say some giraffes are able to mentally combine 2 quantities in a process comparable to simple addition. It's addition. Can we like,
No, I'm kind of with them. I'm kind of with them. That's not addition. That's just them being like, and now there's more.
Which means, on one hand, it's not a huge deal. It's like we know that these ungulates, these hooved animals, so cows and giraffes and hippos and deer, they have demonstrated strong abilities to do numerical tasks before, like differentiating between more and less numbers of things. Even though one of the giraffes failed in one of those tests in this
Look,
experiment.
that's when they start teaching you about accounting. They're like, look, maybe maths isn't for you. Let's try taxes.
But it is still kind of a big deal in the sense that it shows some pretty incredible convergent evolution between giraffes, which even the researchers themselves say are relatively small-brained, to be able to do simple addition-like behavior is still pretty cool, because we typically only see it in humans, primates, and other
bees.
complex mammals, and bees, exactly. Recently bees, and now giraffes. Some
I don't wanna be
giraffes
smarter than a
seem to be
bee.
able to do some very basic addition, which is completely different across family trees, right? Like in the giraffes, in the primates, and in the bees. That's developing some ability to do basic addition has come from very different backgrounds. So it's cool in the sense that we have another branch of the animal tree that's developed this ability to do some simple maths. But yeah, I just think it's amazing because there's we do a lot of stories like this of animal intelligence where it's like, yes, they can do it. No, they can't do it. We're in the weird situation here, which is like,
maybe
they seem to maybe be able to do some very basic mathematical addition, but beyond that, they can't, which is this weird in-between zone of intelligence.
It is weird to be able to figure out that something has increased, but then not be able to figure out that it's decreased.
Right?
Because then in their minds, is everything just always increasing?
So what an interesting spot along this sort of intelligence development that giraffes seem to sit. And the researchers say it does also mimic the early development of something like a human, where we will develop the ability to do simple addition before we can do subtraction or multi-step stuff like they did, or division, multiplication, those sorts of things. So it seems like that is a logical sort of pathway of how hard it is to do different types of maths, and the giraffes seem to be right on that first step. Some of them can do some basic addition according to this experiment, but beyond that, they're stuffed, which is it's like just a little way along this ability to do maths. And that's what I got for you, Max.
Cool.
That's so sick.
Do you know what tuna is?
Fish.
It's fish!
Thank God someone's working on this. I don't know what I'd do without it.
Fish are friends, not food.
Great start. Gabe, what does a cat say?
Yeah.
Max, what does a chicken say?
Cluck, cluck.
And Izzy, what does a shark say? Something has been happening in China in recent years.
Mm.
People have been going blind and no one knew why. So specifically, people were coming down with persistent ocular hypertension viral anterior uveitis.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Yes, and you don't need to know what that is. Essentially, it means that you have severely elevated eye pressure and inflammation on the front of your eye, otherwise known as the anterior. So it's called POVAU. And so that's what it was called, POVAU, P-O-H-V-A-U. And it consistently tested negative for common eye viruses like herpes and shingles. So everyone was a bit lost about what was going on. Earlier investigations had identified some unknown virus particles in the eye tissues of some patients.
Virus-like particles. What does that even mean?
Well, they weren't sure at the time. They just found stuff in the eye.
Bits of RNA or
And
something.
it resembled covert mortality notavirus, or CMNV, in shape and size. And that's weird, because we know what notaviruses are, but they'd never been associated with a human disease before.
Okay.
And that's because it hadn't been found in humans before, because it's from aquatic animals, mainly fish and prawns. And it's really not easy for diseases, especially viruses, to move from fish to humans, right? Like, there's so many reasons why that wouldn't be likely.
Huge jump.
I mean, how many diseases have you heard of from fish?
No, we get
Very little.
diseases primarily from other mammals.
Other mammals,
A
bats.
system similar enough that the virus or a mutation of the virus is able to exploit the human
Survive,
system
yeah.
in some way. Survive,
Exactly. Even things like bird flu back in the day, which is obviously named for birds, became a human virus because it went through rats.
Jumped into mammals.
Jumped into mammals,
Yeah.
then jumped into us. We're a huge jump from many other animals, and fish especially. Like, we don't have the same way to consume oxygen or make energy. There's so many different things between us and fish. So that didn't seem likely. So they investigated. They looked at 70 patients that had been diagnosed with POVAU between January 2022 and April 2025. One key thing to note here is that this has been happening recently. This isn't something that's been happening a long time that we just haven't figured out. It's randomly started happening, and they didn't know what was going on. And so then they removed eye tissue during surgery and examined it using electron microscopes. And that did reveal virus-like particles that were approximately 25 nanometers in size, consistent with CMNV. And they did this thing where they essentially used an antibody that binds to CMNV, and they were able to say, we know what this antibody is, we know that it goes to these notaviruses, and check if it bound to the particles, because we know that antiviruses are essentially like a lock and a key. This lock fit this key. So that says it's most likely a notavirus. And those CMNV particles were identified in the eye tissue of POVAU patients, but not in healthy controls and not in things like herpes or other eye damaged material. Then they did, just to check, they did genetic sequencing of those viral materials that they found, and they revealed a 98.96% match to the strain found in aquatic animals, which was groundbreaking. It's that's just major. Finding a fish and prawn really based virus in human eye tissue that had caused them to go blind. So it had an effect. And no CMNV particles were found in the healthy volunteers. So it's not something that just everyone had and,
Sure.
something else was causing the blindness.
Yeah.
So then the question becomes, they've clearly gotten a disease from fish. How did they get it?
Yeah.
How do you get a disease from a fish? Like, if you think about it with a lot of other things, with the mammals, it's got to be sort of, the virus has to survive between the time, you can't really have, you wouldn't find it in
you have
dried stuff.
transmission vectors like sneezing or bodily fluids or whatever it might be.
And so they asked the people. They asked them.
I really thought you were going to say the fish.
They asked the fish. No, they asked the people.
And they started counting.
We're like, how many people have I infected? I've sneezed on 8 people. So people were talking about their habits with fish, and they found out that nearly 3/4 of the patients reported handling raw seafood without gloves or consuming raw aquatic animals, which suggested that they were primary routes of exposure. And then they decided, we're not just going to go with correlation, we're going to go for causation, which is the big thing in science. And they conducted cell culture studies and even mouse infection studies to try and see whether they can infect rodents, other mammals, with this virus.
Yep.
And they did. Mice infected with the virus developed elevated intraocular pressure, which is that pressure at the front of the eye, consistent with the human condition, supporting the fact that these viruses were causing the blindness. Now the question is, how and where is it coming from, and is it spreading? Like, what is happening here? So they found this CMNV in 49 species of aquatic animals, including crabs and mollusks, across Asia, Africa, Europe, Antarctica, and the Americas. So a lot of the globe, a lot of places.
Most of Earth.
Most of Earth. And that is the big worry here, is that they found this virus, which we now know can infect humans, everywhere. So they raised important questions about food safety practices and about the handling and consumption of raw seafood. So the authors recommended using gloves when handling raw seafood, and just being careful where you get it from. There was something in the article that said there was an idea that some of this had come from not the best quality of seafood, so farms in areas that didn't have great wastewater treatment, polluted waterways, those sorts of things. So this is not a cause to freak out. Like I said, it's only really happening in China at the moment. It hasn't been seen elsewhere. But it is a worry, because if those notaviruses have figured out how to infect humans and cause such a severe disease, we will need to start thinking about how that's going to affect us here, and also think about if that's the seafood that's mainly causing it, we need to make sure that's not coming to us. And people here aren't going to be handling that raw seafood. So yeah, it's just another reason why we need to really know where our seafood comes from, I think, and know a bit more about it and what we're eating.
And probably relatively simple to avoid most of your moments where you'd get that infection. It would seem like it's going directly from an infected bit of seafood flesh to your moist eye.
Maybe. That wasn't
there,
actually talked about, but I would imagine so.
Which, is standard stuff. Like when you're handling raw meat, always wash your hands. Don't go touching your eye and your mouth and other places where stuff can get in. And don't eat raw fish if you're not sure where it's come from. Always give it a cook, especially if it's coming in a freezer bag or something like that from overseas.
Yeah, just be careful.
Yeah. But
normal food safety techniques, but it's interesting, to say the least. I think that the big thing that I saw here was just that there is now a virus that's jumped from a fish and mollusks to a person. Like, huge jump.
I feel the need for speed. Ow!
No Idea, or No Idea, is one of my favourite shows. You always learn something new, and I've kind of not even half, I've now got a slight appreciation for F1 motor cars. They go very fast, and they talk about them a lot.
Yeah. You're tuning to 4ZZZ, and the show is No Idea with me, Max. We got Issy, we got Gabe, and Peta, and Salty texted in after your story about the brain stimulation, or putting the electrodes into the thalamus, or
the neuropixels into the hippocampus.
The hippocampus.
Yeah. And Salty's talking about the deep brain stimulation, which is when you're awake, high, you don't feel it, but you're awake, and then they play this white noise to you. And then the moment you can't hear the white noise is when they know that they've hit the right part of your brain that they need to take out. This is a classic thing that they've been doing for years and years and years. Again, a lot of the time in those epilepsy surgeries where they need to find a bit of the brain that's misfiring so that they can save you from having seizures. As Salty points out, now you don't need to be conscious anymore. They've got ways of figuring out how your brain is responding to the noise without you having to be there, which is great because because I think it's probably not the best thing. I don't want to be I don't want to be there for that. That's your job. Leave me out of it. Sure. That's really cool. That's just like lots of cool stuff happening in neurosurgery where they can now see how the brain's responding without you. And we've also got another text in from Owen.
DJ Oz.
Consciousness. Defined by having a Z subscription.
It is.
That's what I found when I looked it up. Yeah.
I think we may have solved the hard problem.
So if you two think you are potentially conscious,
or would like to be conscious,
join the hordes of join the hordes of the conscious. You can jump on to 4ZZZ.org.au and jump on for a 4ZZZ subscription, which does keep this show running. We're all volunteers on air on 4ZZZ, and the station runs on subscriptions from people like you subscribing. Max, you got the details there?
Yes, they're under 18. It's $25 if you want to subscribe your pet. $25. Concession, or basic now it's called, is $40. A full subscription. That's 2 times basic, which is 80. We've got Passionate, which is 140, and Super Sub, $500. If you're a solo artist, it's 85. And if you're a band, 160. If you're a community organisation, 160, and if you're a business, it's $250. And there's some sort of tax offset too. You can add, subtract, add into there.
Yeah, they've just changed it up
Yeah.
like a week ago to make it work a bit nicer because we know it's for a lot of it's not an easy time to be giving up $80 or something to a community radio station for a lot of people, but it's what people do and keeps us running. So to sort of make it work a bit better with it's been changed up a bit. You were always eligible to sort of self identify as needing the concession rate, which was it's 40, and so now that's the basic rate 40, and then it's sort of a donation you can make on top, which is I think an editable donation on top. So if you for the full subscription, which is what we do the Passionates, but for the full subscription, which I think most people do, it's 80, which is like the $40 base subscription and a $40 donation.
Yeah,
and a lot of
claim
questions
like a normal donation.
People ask is it a monthly? No, it's an annual.
Yeah.
It lasts a whole year, which is unheard of in
Netflix.
In the realm of monthly subscriptions. No, it's for a single year.
Yeah,
and we'll always notify you when it's about to expire, so you can always make that decision. But we've also got your monthly sub prize as well, because we do love our businesses. Garage Sounds, our record studio, has a voucher of the value of $200, which is eligible for anything including vinyls, CDs, cassettes, books, DVDs, and merch. Long live physical media, especially with these guys who also host the monthly Brisbane Record Fair. So you can check them out on Facebook and on our website, 4ZZZ.org.au, and grab yourself a little membership. Join the conscious.
Join the conscious.
Single press overtake, stay in scenario 7.
If you push me up the track, I think you have to leave a space. All the time you have to leave a space.
Come on. Get it, girl. Get it. Woo!
Yeah, you don't need to tell me that.
Max, we're in this together, mate. Head down. Come on.
Yes! Great job, guys. That was hard work. Oh, that was hard work.
F1 on the weekend, it was back where it all began. At Silverstone, it's been 76 years. For the inaugural 1950 race at Silverstone, Enzo Ferrari decided to skip the event because he was unhappy with the appearance money offered, believing the organisers undervalued his team. Not anymore. On that day, Alfa Romeo won, but sadly, this was not the case for the weekend. Ferrari showed up, and they looked impressive. So it was a sprint weekend, and I said it came down to like 2 manufacturers at the front of the field, and there was 2 manufacturers fighting it out to be last as well. Yes. Up front, the race, the Mercedes v Ferrari story continues. Meanwhile, at the back of the pack,
it was Cadillac.
Cadillac v Aston Martin. All the other manufacturers seem just to make up the numbers. Anyway.
Kimi Antonelli took his first ever sprint win as well, beating Lewis Hamilton at his home Grand Prix, and Lando Norris as well during that sprint race. But yeah, that was definitely one with quite a bit of glitz and glamour, this Silverstone race. Unfortunately, Max Verstappen crashing out as well, landing right in front of the Lando stand that was full of fluoro orange Lando Norris fans, so that was less than delightful.
That's the team he's joining next year, isn't it?
Yeah, now that we've damn near confirmed.
Via a crash.
It was 8-minute highlights, and I think it's worth watching. Just because, in my dad's words, it was a whole lot of nothing and then a whole lot of something.
It was, the feature race, and we had they finished under safety car, which is
is unfortunate.
Yeah, and Toto said he wanted that 2021 race to finish under safety car, and they would have secured Lewis Hamilton's 8th World Championship. He has to stay at 7, and Max Verstappen got his first back in 2021.
Unfortunately for Australian Oscar Piastri, that was P11 under safety car, which has officially divorced his love for P5, P7, and has relegated him down to P11. So he's at top 6, I believe, in the drivers' points. But yes, a very unfortunate result.
And Ferrari got 2 cars on the podium for the feature race. They had Charles Leclerc winning the race. Second was George. And third was Lewis, as I remember. So, yeah. You can check
Not bad overall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gabe's been watching soccer, or football, sorry.
Yes. Did you wake up at 4 a.m. To watch the Socceroos, Gabe?
Of course.
Your favourites America went down, Gabe.
Max, what a delight that game was.
For real. It was great.
Seeing Lukaku's fourth goal go in and just hopes get crushed.
Overturn that, he said.
I think that was the one of the messages out from one of the Belgium football accounts on social media.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good. They did it convincingly. Yeah.
It was. You're right, Max. It was Leclerc, Russell, Hamilton is the top three for Silverstone. Next race is in Belgium in 2 weeks' time for the F1.
In Spa, yeah.
In Spa, that's the one. And the Supercars and MotoGP are this weekend. The Supercars in Townsville and the MotoGP in Germany.
F1 Academy.
Yep, we had a race finally after so many months.
So many months.
Yeah. You guys spoke last week about the wildcard driver, Chiara Batting, who was driving the Weller Professional sponsored car, and she managed to put it on pole during qualifying, which was quite a... She's only 16, isn't she?
And people were saying, why isn't she in F1 Academy already? She was actually too young.
Yes.
To get into the category.
There is a specific...
Until now.
Yes, so you have to be above 16, I believe. And she was...
Of the preceding year.
And
she only had her birthday in March this year.
Yeah,
to turn 16, yeah.
Reverse grid as well, because these girls do them. It's the top 8 qualifying drivers swapped around, and it saw Emma Fabermare win driving for Audi.
Yep.
And in the feature race, we had Alicia Pomolsky execute a dream drive on her home soil. In the feature race, there was some beautiful footage of her mum just like completely in tears, proud of her, claiming a third win of the 2026 Formula One Academy and extending her lead in the driver's standing. Coming in second was the Red Bull Racing driver. Coming in second, getting the better of the Red Bull Racing driver was Chiara, who... This is the first wildcard driver who has ever gotten
on the podium.
Fantastic. In the history of F1 Academy. And 16 years old as well. Holy, what a great way to guarantee. Oh, don't say that. Born in 2010.
Yes.
Don't say that. What a fantastic way to put that on your resume, almost guaranteeing an entry into F1 Academy next year.
Yeah. And they're saying she should just go straight to F3. She's that good.
Yeah, she's that good.
Yeah.
So a fantastic weekend for racing in the F1 Academy. And I'm not sure when they're next racing because
I didn't include it in my roundup because once again, so many months away from the
I was going to
next
say,
race.
Unfortunately,
it's in the Netherlands on the 23rd of August for the main race.
I'll see you then.
Another big old wait, month and a half.
You can take a month and a half.
I'll take a month off. Yep.
We need more, Izzy. We need more.
I know.
6 races we get this year from the F1 Academy. We did lose 2 from the Middle East because of they had to cancel it from what was happening in Bahrain and elsewhere. They've got 6 this year.
Off to Zandvoort, which they are probably the most familiar with because that's where they do testing.
Yeah.
So at the very least, we'll see experience, kind of overdrive, luck, or whatever else. And then finishing off in the Americas.
They had the feeder series. They had an F3 race, which was a bit unusual because the Polish driver won it. He came in 4th past the flag. But he still won the race. Yeah.
With the penalties.
Oh, because of the penalties, of course.
Right. The 3 people in front of him either got disqualified or had 10-second penalties.
Oh, my God.
So he secured his first win. That's must say Gladys managed to get P1 after the fact. And F2, again,
nice.
Nicholas
Olaf.
He's going to win it this year. Clearly the best in Formula 2 at the moment. He drives for Campus Racing, does he?
Yes, he does.
And beat Rafael Village Gomez, who finished second, and Kusha Manani, third.
Yeah, he's been on an absolute streak, and I think, I believe he fell, Australia was not his GP for the start of this year, and he was seems like he's taken that internally, worked really hard, and now is just like absolutely dominating F2. So I'd be interested to see if he lands in F1 and where, because that's obviously the big shuffle up that is being discussed about where do you put these successful F2 drivers if all the F1 drivers have extended their contracts.
Yeah, it was interesting when Oscar Piastri was going through F2, and he was good in the race, in the feature races, but his qualifying wasn't so good, so he just worked on his qualifying, and then suddenly he won the championship.
Yeah,
Job
so
done.
whether they do something like that, take a year as a reserve driver for whoever else, and then land that position.
Yeah.
But yeah, on to NASCARs.
Yeah, it was in Chicago at their oval circuit, so no street circuit for poor Shane. He had to drive around an oval circuit, and he managed to get 25th. He really has to start finishing in the top 20 for the oval circuits. He still remains in the top 16. He's now P14, which makes him eligible for what they call the chase, which is a sort of the finals for the championship of NASCAR Cup. He was also caught up in some controversy after he wrecked a car during the race. He bumped someone off the track.
Oh my God.
The incident involved number 33 car driven by Austin Hill, who people are considering might be payback after Austin actually wrecked SVG's car 2 weeks prior. So it's a bit of payback happening. And IndyCar also happening. And finally, McLaren has cause to celebrate because their driver, Peta, won on the weekend at the Mid-Ohio race, placing in 5th in this year's championship. Australia's Will Power finished 6th, and for those wondering where no idea favourites Stingray Bob, Roman Grosjean and Mick Schumacher finished, well, look very much towards the back of the field because they came in 22nd, 23rd and 24th respectively, and there are only 25 drivers, so... Make of that what you will. Okay, that's it for the MotoRap.
Nice.
If no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire
4ZZZ. I reckon I can do that voiceover. Thank you.
No reverb, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, do it right now.
4ZZZ.
Nice. You're listening to 4ZZZ.
You're tuning to 4ZZZ, and the show is No Idea, weekly dose of science with me, Max. We've got Issy, we've got Gabe, we've got Peta, and we've got part 3 of this. I'm going to talk about quantum computing because scientists have just shattered a major roadblock in quantum computing by making a magnon last 100 times longer than previously possible. A magnon can be...
What is a magnon?
Hey?
What is a magnon?
Here we go.
Magnon?
A magnon can be thought
one of those ice creams that you get in Aldi.
Yeah,
It's a knockoff of the real thing.
If it can last 100 times longer.
True. Yeah.
It can be thought of as a tiny ripple of magnetism, a spinning wave travelling through a crystal. Physicists have been studying these ripples as a possible way to store and move quantum information because unlike some other approaches, they could potentially scale down to the nanometer level, which is 1/billionth of a meter. And to put that in perspective, Izzy, your fingernails grow at a rate of about 1 nanometer per second. I know.
Whoa.
Ew.
Or,
Feels too fast.
Yeah. What the hell?
Or a normal strand of hair is around 80,000 nanometers. Okay. Up until now, there has been a problem with using magnons. Magnons fall apart almost as soon as they form, lasting no longer than a few billionths of a second. Not to be discouraged, a team of researchers led by scientists at the University of Vienna, QS ranking, it's in the hundreds.
Yeah.
172.
250.
110.
The hundreds.
Oh. I'm a giraffe, babe.
Yellow box.
Let's do 160.
Yeah, 140. Decided to take a new approach. Instead of exciting the magnetic waves that most labs typically study, they went after short wavelength magnons, ripples about the size of a bacterium. And instead of using a simple material, they used ultra pure crystals of a material called yttrium iron garnet and cooled its crystals to temperatures just above absolute zero. Do you know what the absolute zero is in degrees Celsius?
Negative 273.4.
0.15, yeah. Nice.
0.15.
Yeah.
Off by a few decimal
places.
places.
So we usually just say negative 273 Celsius, yeah. The result was a revelation. The magnons survived for up to 18 microseconds, or roughly 100 times longer than any previous record. Enough time to put them in the same league as the stable times of today's leading superconducting quantum computer chips.
Well, surely it wasn't exactly negative 275.14 because that's 0 Kelvin and
273.
Yes, sorry.
0.15.
But 0 Kelvin is impossible to make because 0 Kelvin is when there is zero
correct
movement of electrons.
Yes.
So that's not possible.
They get close. They tended to.
Close. They got pretty close.
Yes.
Nice.
If magnons can hold on to quantum information for 18 microseconds or more, they could act as tiny quantum memories or even as wires that shuttle quantum information across a chip, connecting a matrix of qubits together instead of just the neighbouring ones. There was one anomaly, however. The researchers expected the magnon lifetime to keep growing the colder the crystals went, but it leveled off. They traced this to tiny impurities, which turned out to be rare earth atoms still lingering in even their purest crystals. So the next step will be to purify the material even further to see if there's...
They should go to Tambourine Mountain. They've got a bunch of crystals.
Can be and a lot of magnons. Okay, the bottom line, magnons just went from a promising but fragile idea to a more serious candidate for building the next quantum computers.
Sick.
Well done.
3 physicists at the Technical University of Denmark, they have ranked the types of paper that are most likely to cause a paper cut.
Oh, shut up. Really?
Yeah.
What do you got for us, Issy?
Wake up, babes. New shiny frog unlocked. Huge. Massive. Not the frog, but the news. This is
excited.
fresh off the press from the Austral Ecology Journal. We have one of the clearest documentations of iridescence recorded in an amphibian. You might be familiar with iridescence in species like butterflies, birds, and beetles. What came to mind?
Eyeshadows.
And eyeshadows, exactly. Nails, whatever else. I'm thinking of like hummingbird colors, peacocks, rainbow beetles as well. Fish, obviously. What's that kids book? The Rainbow Fish. There we go. Well, researchers from the University of Newcastle, QS ranking, please.
222.
Wait, our Newcastle, their Newcastle.
Our Newcastle.
3-5.
462.
Max was closest, 244.
Nice.
Have
Sorry,
found
Newcastle.
the endangered green and golden bell frog possesses an intricate color-shifting skin previously unseen in the species. So they have found, I think it's one singular frog. They attached an image of said frog, and I'm going to try and describe it to you. Imagine it's a frog with its legs stretched out to show the coloring on its inner legs.
I love it, like when you hold up a cat by its front paws
when
and
you're
they
holding
kind of
it
stretch.
and the
Gotcha.
legs kind of dangle. It is a chicken breast coloured frog with a peacock. Yes, a raw chicken breast coloured frog with like a peacock colour, so like a green and blue colouring like on its legs. Very strange to look at, and I was automatically drawn when I saw the thumbnail of the story because I'm like, what the hell is this?
Is it almost like off chicken? Like, you know when you sometimes find off chicken
I've
in the
seen
fridge
those
and it's
people
got the
on-
iridescent sheen?
Yes, people on Reddit being like, I just bought this chicken for $16. Why does it look like this? Kind of like that.
Yeah.
The coloring, the coloring is actually normally hidden from view between the legs of the frog, but can be revealed when the frog moves or jumps forward. Scientists believe that the bright blue patch functions as a flash coloration signal to startle or distract predators that might be targeting it. Furthermore,
it distracted me. Distracted them.
Whoa, yeah. Furthermore, we all know that the color blue is not a random choice. It's typically used, it's not a naturally occurring color in nature and is typically used as a sign of danger. So to me, that's blue-ringed octopuses. That's also your blue poison dart frogs, typically used as a deterrent. So conservation biologist from the Uni of Newcastle said, Dr. John Goot said that the presence of iridescence in this frog shows that the blue color isn't produced through random scattering, so it's not just blue pigmentation on the frog. It's actually ordered reflective platelets on the frog's skin that are responsible for creating this very structural blue color on its legs, which is quite interesting. So almost like little mirrors on the frog's skin, which allow light to reflect. And it's not just like butterflies and whatever else where they have a specific color. Really, really interesting. And Dr. Gout also said that given the green and golden bell frog is such a well-known Australian species, our finding highlights how much remains to be discovered within the animal kingdom. So as a New South Wales fan, I'm taking this green and gold frog with a little blue note as a good sign for tonight's game as well. So, what can I say?
Yeah.
New green and gold frog with a little bit of blue, baby. Up the blues.
You know it's Mal Meninga's birthday today.
Oh, yes.
So let's go. Just letting
Keeping us
Russell
on our toes.
Yeah, that's right. You're tuning to 4 Z, and the show is No Idea with me, Max. We've got Issy, we've got Peta. What do you got for us, Go?
Max, I've got for you some researchers who have just built a robotic replica of an Australian bird to try and figure out why they're so much better at dealing with turbulence than drones are.
Really?
Whoa.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think you've probably seen this as well. But you've probably seen it the most in the quadcopter drones, the ones that have the 4 rotors.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the cheaper ones. That you see them flying, and you'll often see them try and hover in place through wind, and they just get blown all over the place, and they're constantly fighting against the wind to stay in one spot. They're often quite good at it, especially nowadays. But they have to fight a lot to stay in position, and they're often using like a GPS coordinate based off
gyros,
communication with satellites and gyros to maintain that position. But it's really inefficient. And when you're starting to just think about drones that aren't those quadcopters, but are instead sort of winged unmanned drones, like the ones you might see in military circumstances, but also all sorts of other things. With the wings, they really struggle with that sort of turbulence, and they burn a lot of energy trying to deal with gusts and turbulence and differences in the wind, to the point where typically when the wind gets up, the drones come down. That's just like game over for the drones. Whatever the setting is, be it recreational, filming, farming, military, whatever it is, the wind gets too much. Very often those drones come down because they just can't efficiently deal with those gusts. So these researchers looked at something else in the landscape that doesn't seem to have this issue, which is the Nankin kestrel. It's one of Australia's birds of prey. It's a little kite-looking thing. And if you've ever looked across a landscape and seen a bird just hovering in place, like dead still in place, flapping its wings really quickly, and it's just
Max
staring
wouldn't have seen
down.
this because he's actually not aware of
No,
birds.
it's not on Max's list of 20 birds.
I'm only doing land-based birds at the moment.
Yes, right.
So
famously air-based.
Air-based
birds,
animals. Oh my gosh. This one's not marine. So there's penguins, and then there's air-based birds.
Okay.
I think he means emus. He's just doing emus.
Just focuses on one.
But these Nankin kestrels, you might have seen one that's similar to it, the black kites. They're often on the side of highways. So if you see a bird hovering on the side of a major road, it's probably a black-shouldered kite. If you've seen them out like on the coasts and things, so they've got this orange color, they can hover for well over 30 seconds in place, just staying completely still, hovering, maybe 30 meters above the ground, looking for prey. So their heads completely still as they're doing this on that sort of whole gyroscopic neck setup. And then they'll glide down and hit the prey if they see it moving around. So they were like, well, these clearly can do this quite efficiently, deal with all this gust.
At least for 30
seconds. It can be in high wind conditions, and they're still flapping away and maintaining their spot. And there's sort of a mixture of flap and hold and flap and hold. So they're doing it in a really efficient way. So they're like, okay, let's get these things into a wind tunnel and see if we can learn from them. So this came out in 2 papers both published in the Journal of the Royal Society Interface, out of Australia's own RMIT University and the University of Bristol. You got QSs?
RMIT is about 80, and
I'm going to go 80.
Bristol is lower, so it'll be 70. There you go.
Any differences? No?
No, I'm happy with Max's,
119 for RMIT.
Oh, okay.
And 57 for Uni Bristol.
Okay.
Shout out to RMIT, though. They have been on a climb since 2015. They're in 304th, and they're now in 119.
Whoa.
So
sick.
They built before they built the robot version. They did the wind tunnel stuff. So they got a Nankin kestrel into a wind tunnel in
with
Melbourne.
a tether. Please, it had a tether
on a lead.
So
I don't know if it did.
Don't accidentally turn the fan up. Oh my goodness.
We lost another one.
I'm sure the kestrel was fine. I saw some videos. It looked confused but fine.
It's like, well, I don't really know why I'm hovering. It doesn't seem like there's any grass here, but sure.
I said forward, not reverse. Anyway.
So through this wind tunnel stuff, they confirm some pretty important factors. It has 22 degrees of freedom to adjust its posture mid-flight. 22 things it can do to change based on all the joints it's got and the rear wings, the 2 wings on the side. It can do a lot compared to to 4 on a typical drone. It's also much lighter in the very specific places. Its body mass is concentrated in the torso, which means it's got a lot. Even if it spins around, that center of
mass.
all that mass is sitting right on the center of gravity, the center point of of all the pitch and roll and all that sort of stuff. So it's concentrating that, and it's not got a big weight on the wing that's like flicking it over and turning it. So it can spin itself. It can do correct itself in response to a gust roughly twice as fast as a drone of a similar size can. And they say that a similar micro vehicle simply carries too much rotational weight as well in the frame to react as quickly. So they're finding all these differences.
That's cool.
And how they can suddenly absorb all that airflow by adjusting their wings and their tails. But they wanted more detail. They really wanted to get into the specific forces that are acting on different parts and how they're minimizing it and how the different parts of the wings and how the tail feathers in the wings are interacting. So they can't, as you brought up, you can't get that done ethically in a wind tunnel with a Kestrel. So they rebuilt it as a robot. This is what the robot was for. And to be fair to them, to be fair to the bird, they
can't get that close.
They got half of it done.
Yeah.
There's half of a bird that they built a robot version of. The right-hand side, they have a robot version of.
It seems kind of arrogant to just go all right, well, we can't touch the bird, so we'll just, guess we'll just make one. Yeah, it can't be that hard. We'll just make a bird.
So, it turns out one of the keys from this robot, because they're measuring all sorts of how the force changes, how the airflow changes across this robot version, because it's in a wind tunnel, and they've got a robot version, they can just run it constantly and just measure all these tiny little changes. And so they figured out that one of the keys to how a Kestrel is able to control gusts of winds hitting it is how the tail and wings work together. They can kind of extend simultaneously to get a greater increase in lift than you just get from the sum of both of them alone. So they combine. So the lift you get just from the wings and the lift you get just from the tail. If you use both, you get more than just adding those two numbers together. They can actually create a multiplied effect of the lift they can get from it. They're also able to counter a vertical gust without changing their flight altitude at all by moving their pitch in response to how the feathers are moving.
Oh my goodness.
Because apparently a vertical gust of wind across a flying object like that with wings is creating 25 to 100 times more lift than a horizontal gust of the same magnitude would. So you get the same wind going across versus up is generating up to 100 times more lift when it goes up. So they're able to deal with that a lot better because they've got all those points of movement and they're able to use them to sort of counteract each other and hold themselves in place without burning a whole bunch of energy. And they say from all of this, they're like, there's bits of this that we can get into small drones potentially by looking at how the different things work together, not just using flaps like a lot of these unmanned vehicles that aren't the copter ones, but are the flying ones, the ones with wings. They'll often just use flaps similar to how a commercial passenger plane will use flaps for a lot of this stuff.
Which is also inspired by birds,
they basically say this is a pretty rudimentary way of dealing with airflow across a wing compared to something like a Kestrel, like natural birds are doing it. So there's probably a lot to learn from the way that they use the flap their wings, move their wings around is sort of to counteract each other as well and to pull it in a bit and out of the way and minimize lift at certain times. So I think there's stuff to learn there. They also really want to look at how they're able to predict the gusts, though, which is they say something that the current drones don't do at all. They're all reacting, the current drones. They get hit off course, they push themselves back on course. Yeah. Sort of a very callous way of doing it, an energy demanding way of doing it. Whereas they know that Kestrels and other birds have all sorts of, it's not just actuators that they've got like automatically deploying feather changes based on the airflow that's going on. So it stops, airflow doesn't get separated because the feathers are reacting sort of instantaneously to how it's flowing over. They've got these hair-like feathers called phyloplumes that are detecting vibrations and flow separation in real time. So they're thinking, well, maybe the next step of this, let's see how these birds are predicting what's coming and then try and build that into drones as well to try and get the drones predicting the gusts of wind that they're dealing with.
Seems like you need a brain-level machine to be able to figure that out.
It does seem like a lot, but pretty cool stuff and led out of the RMIT uni about using birds to make better drones. That's like off for you, Max.
I'm looking at the image. It's fairly good. It's not rudimentary, is it? The model that they designed.
No, the robot's fantastic, isn't it? Like they've got each individual feather has been built out, and is moving at least somewhat on its own in response to stuff. So yeah, it's a pretty incredible robot they've built.
Where was this when Icarus fell?
No idea. Space news.
Do you remember the 3-eye atlas that flew past us? The sort of the alien sort of thing.
At least.
And it was December 19 last year, and it passed a fairly safe distance. It was 270 million kilometres away from Earth. So the moon's 400,000 kilometres, so it gives you an idea.
Just brushed past us.
But they've done some analysis using that space telescope they got out there, the James Webb Space Telescope, and they reckon it's around 10 to 12 million years old. So it makes it actually twice as old as our sun. So clearly it's from an alien galaxy somewhere far away. So anyway, save the date because, and I'm saying don't look up because on April 13th, 2029, a 375 metre asteroid called Apophis will sweep past Earth closer than many telecommunication satellites. So telecommunication satellites, they're geostationary at 36,000 kilometres out. So this will be at 30,000 and it should be visible to the naked eye under clear skies for about 2 billion people across Europe, Africa and parts of Asia. And encounters like this close to Earth by an asteroid, which is a few hundred metres wide, are thought to happen only once every several thousand years.
Ooh.
Which is why 2029 has been designated by the United Nations as the Year of Asteroid Awareness, clearly. When the asteroid was first detected back in 2004, early calculations suggested a small chance of it hitting Earth in 2029. And if not in 2029, it would certainly hit us in 2036 and 2068. Anyway, those fears have since been laid to rest. Sharper tracking, precise radar measurements in 2021 refined the asteroid's path and removed every one of those impact scenarios. And space agencies now state that the meteor poses no risk of striking Earth for at least the next 100 years. So
it's close, though, isn't it?
It's not that far away.
Yeah.
Can we get another date, please? When was that? April?
April 13, 2029.
2029, easy.
And that a few hundred meters across would mean a few kilometer diameter large crater if it hits the land.
Yeah.
Meteor.
Cool.
Okay.
Put in.
We spoke about Logan's Run last week.
Did you just add it to your
I did just add it to my my calendar.
What, are you planning on being in Asia, Europe, Africa, but not here?
No, just far underground.
Before 2032, I don't want to be here for the Olympics, but I do want to be here for the meteor.
We spoke about a movie last week, sci-fi movie called Logan's Run. This week, I want to present Gattaca. Have you guys seen Gattaca at all?
Yeah, but a long time ago.
Yeah, because I'm always surprised that you've actually seen a film that's been released which has the number 19 in front of it. But, yeah, okay, so you've seen Gattaca?
No.
Anyway, the premise of the film is to visit Saturn's largest moon, Titan. And in a recent thought piece, if you were able to visit Titan and survive, it would be the easiest place to fly in the entire solar system. A person could theoretically glide through the air using strap-on wings through... Though you would still need to survive the...
I think they couldn't.
Yeah. This is the movie where Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke met.
Yes. And got married.
Got married, yes. Interesting.
Anyway, back to reality. NASA's Dragonfly mission is scheduled to launch in July 2028 and arrive at Titan in 2034. The drone will hop between different sites to drill into the ice and analyse organic materials that may mimic the conditions of early Earth. That's it for the space news.
Damn. Snowball Earth.
Gattaca is named after the what are they called? The DNA. Guanine, thymine, whatever it is.
Oh, sick.
Really?
Yeah. That's what the GATC in Gattaca is. It's the four things that form the base pairs in.
Well, hopefully we find some there.
Yes.
And was voted by NASA scientists as the most accurate science fiction ever made.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Over Interstellar?
Well, I don't know if it might be at the time.
Before that.
So maybe after Interstellar. But yeah, welcome to the No Idea film list.
That's it for No Idea this week. Sign us out, Gabe.
It is all we have time for. This show is brought to you thanks to all the subscribers at 4ZZZ. You can join them at 4zzz.org.au, which is also where you can listen back to the full recording of this show with all the music, as well as a bunch of our previous shows. The condensed is on your podcasting platform of choice. Cut all the music out, chuck it up there as a podcast. Thanks to Toby. And you can catch a bunch of our shows on there. No Idea 4ZZZ. It's KNOW _ZZZ, which is also our handle on socials if you want to watch back some of the clips we record from during the show. Big thanks to Toby for the podcast, and thanks to you, Max, Izzy, and Peter for your stories this week. We'll be back in your ears next week. Between now and then, try out our podcast next time you're unconscious. Practice some long division to maintain your intellectual superiority over a giraffe. Maintain your magnons by keeping your purest crystals cold, and check out the legs on that green and gold bell frog.
And we'll speak to you next week.
See ya.
Bye.
I'm a goddamn marvel of modern science.